I'm back from the plastic surgery, surgical reconstructive office, and I feel a lot more confident. So I asked them to show me the actual consent form that I signed because, to be honest, with so much on the table, I couldn't remember exactly what procedures they said that they were going to do because there were something like 5 different things that they discussed with me, and one of those was a complete simple mastectomy, and I didn't really understand the terms of that. The other thing was a total capsulectomy, a breast implant exchange, a mastopexy, which is a breast lift, and a level 5 pathology gross biopsy of my lymph nodes and tissue. So I don't remember ever consenting to a mastectomy, and I wouldn't. So I know that that was on the table because I have a lot of masses in my breast, and also prophylactically, my mother is a breast cancer survivor, so that is something that is a option to remove my breast. So I did not want a mastectomy. That was very important to me, but I didn't know if the surgeons had heard that because it is still listed on my billing and things like that. So today I asked them to show me show me exactly what have I signed and let me make sure that mastectomy is not on there. So I did look today, and what they're going to be doing is they do need to do the level 5 pathology biopsy of my lymph nodes, which they will cut me all the way from under the arm, all the way underneath my breast on both sides to do that. They will inject methylene blue dye or a radioactive dye that when they inject a mass area, if it is spread to the lymph nodes, the blue dye will turn the lymph nodes blue, and then they will be able to see if cancer has spread to my lymph nodes. At that time, if they turn blue, they will remove those lymph nodes. So I know and I understand what that procedure is about now. They are definitely doing a capsulectomy, which is removing the scar tissue and the old implant from underneath my muscle. They are going to be doing a breast implant exchange, which once they take the old ruptured mastectomy implants out from underneath the muscle, they will be putting a new implant in the breast tissue on top of the muscle at my request. They will also do what is called a mastopexy. I'm getting it right now, which is a breast lift. Initially, I did not want the mastopexy because I had the misconception that implants alone could lift the nipples. That is a absolute misconception. A implant augmentation surgery will not lift your nipples. It will not change them. It may change the shape of your breast, but wherever your nipples are when you start, your nipples are still going to be in the same place. So at 61, I had to take a strong look at that, and I also did my research. I looked at hundreds of other cases of augmentation only, the breast implant only. It never changed the nipple position. So I had to apologize to my surgeon and tell her I was completely wrong, that at 61, I feel like I should have the breast lift like she suggested from the beginning. even if I have to suffer through the vertical scarring that I did not want, which is a scar that goes from the bottom of the breast to the nipple and then around the nipple. So I initially just hated that. I thought, I do not want to do that. I hate that scar. It looks like a patch quilt. It looks like a Frankenstein scar. I don't want to do it. But then I researched how women cover that scar. And I don't have a single tattoo on my body. I'm not really into tattoos. I don't really personally like them. But I did see a very beautiful cherry blossom, very tiny tattoo where they did cherry blossoms along the bottom of their breast, and then they did a cherry blossom vine that went up that vertical scar, and it actually looked very tasteful. And so that's one of my plans, to cover that scar. I'm going to have like a cherry blossom tattoo put over it. I won't be able to do that for several months, maybe not even until a year, until my breasts fully heal. I can't get the tattoo, but that is something that I plan to do. So I felt a whole lot more confident. I'm glad that the surgical bras fit this time. I don't have to buy another one. I felt more confident because I discussed my medications. I discussed the size of the implants, where my scarring would be. So I have a full understanding of what's going to happen on my surgery date. Also, I had been required to put up $3,361 before my surgery. And normally, University of Texas is not a charity hospital like it used to be several decades ago. Now, if you don't have your copay, if you don't have your deductible, or you don't have your out-of-pocket, which mine was out-of-pocket, they will not do the surgery. They will turn you down. So last week I almost had a nervous breakdown because I knew that I could only come up with half of that by the surgery date. Now, it was my greatest hope to be able to come up with the full $3,361, because then my insurance has to pay 100% of this bill. I couldn't do it, no matter how hard I tried, because the amount of money that I make making insecurity, this is taking my full check every single week with just a few, like $100 left over for food and groceries. I could not do it. So I had been on the phone like literally all day trying to get Care Credit, which they turned me down because right now I'm having to default on a lot of loans because of my medical bills. So Care Credit had turned me down. I do have a credit option with UTMB, which is called, I think it's like, it's some kind of pays in health care financing. So previously, for one of my biopsies, they had financed $1,000 on that card. So I knew that I'm still paying on that balance, but I knew that I will have to finance at least half of the $3,300, which is $1,600. So I couldn't get through to them. I mean, I was literally all day on the phone from 7 to 3 p.m. calling, trying to get financing. The hospital itself turned down financing. So it was very strange. I was sitting in front of my computer and I had been crying because I was thinking, I've already waited from February until August just to be able to afford this surgery. I couldn't afford to take even one day off, no matter how sick I was. And I was very sick some days. The silicone leaking in my chest literally is burning and feels like it burns through my back and my sides. My lymph nodes are aching every single day. I've had a fatigue that is so bad that I can't even describe it. So I felt really, really ill, but I couldn't afford to miss a day. I still had to just suck it up and go to work. So I was really at the point of almost a nervous breakdown, thinking that this would be the second time that the hospital would turn me away if I didn't have the money. So I was sitting in front of my computer, and really it's posted on my Facebook and on my X account. I looked over at my security surveillance cameras, and I saw kind of like a entity face appear. And as soon as the entity face appeared, kind of like a white ghost-like face, the phone rang. And when I picked up the phone, it was the doctor's office, and they were asking me, do you have any concerns or issues before your surgery? And it was so unusual. I remember looking at the ghostly face and then looking, at the phone like, this is so strange, but spiritual things like that happen all the time in my life. So I broke down and I told the doctor's office, I said, look, I have tried everything. I said, I'm working literally until a week before the surgery, trying to afford the $3,300. I know I can come up with $1,600, half of it, but there is no way that I can come up with the other half. I just cannot do it. And I said, even after the surgery for 6 to 8 weeks, I have zero income. And so I'm afraid that you are going to cancel the surgery. So the nurse said to me, well, let me go to my management team and talk with them, and I'll call you back. So she called me back, and she said the management team approved that you can pay your $1,600. We'll do the surgery, and then we will bill you after the surgery. And that's wonderful. That means my surgery is going to go through. I will get a bill. And unfortunately, because I didn't pay 100%, the $3,300, that means my insurance company doesn't have to pay the full 100%. They can get by with paying 70% until I can pay that other $1,600. But I have to do what I have to do. So at least my surgery is scheduled. It is on the books. I'm ready for it. And I'll let you know what happens. So I'm excited. I only have 6 shifts to complete starting tomorrow at work. And then I'm off starting on the 14th through October the 1st. And that is basically just kind of like the time period that I selected for 6 weeks. That's if there's no complications. Today is the 5th. My surgery is scheduled for August the 20th, so that means 15 days before my surgery. Of course, I have worries about the surgery. I have pets. My sister will be taking me to the surgery and dropping me off, but basically I'm going through this alone. I don't have anyone to stay with me at the house after surgery, after I come home. So that's just part of life of being single and having to do what you've got to do to get through something. But I will let you know what goes on, and I'm just glad today that I feel more confident about what is going to happen, and I think I'll be okay. Bye.